Welcome back, estate agents, letting agents, and anyone who's interested in property data and what's happening in the UK property market. Back with the UK Property Stats Show with special guest, a return, Mr. Ben Madden, big in the game West London agent. Thanks, Ben, for joining us.
Thank you for having me again. Someone must have blown you out last minute for me to be on twice. Amazing.
Well, we've got five or six guests, and we're rotating them round. And there you go. You were the one that could do this week's slot. We've got hopefully a special guest. Got a wonderful guest next week. So again, boys and girls, for the purposes of this, we are actually looking at the proper raw data of exactly what is happening in the property market. Everything is driven in UK estate agency by houses on the market, getting them sold, price reductions, and then getting them sold and out the door with exchange of contracts. And we can look at house price data, but that's out, that's months and months ago. This is what's happening now. If too many houses come on the market, we're gonna have too much supply, and that's potentially going to bring prices down. If we're not selling enough, that's going to bring prices down. So we're going to have a look at exactly what's happening. So should we delve straight in? Let's
do it.
Yeah, that's magic. Okay, so we're back, and well, Ben, you are very lucky today because we've tweaked some of the graphs to make them look even more awesome. Okay,
very sexy.
Thank you very much.
Sexy.
Good stuff. So we've removed some graphs, and we've got some graphs that are added in. So this particular graph here is that we're looking at in isolation week 7 in terms of new instructions or listings. Okay, these are new houses on the market. We are going to look at the cumulative figures and also the trends, but let's start off with the raw figures. So this week, this is week ending Sunday the 19th, yes, of February. 32,258 listings. Well, they almost look kind of identical every single week going back to 2016, same number of listings.
It's a really boring, really sexy start, isn't it? Because there's nothing crazy and scary here. This is exactly how we want to start a show like this. Let's be confident that life just looks, I hate the word normal, but you know what? It's okay, isn't it? There's nothing to worry about here. Instructions are coming to the market. That's what we want to see. It's great.
But not too many of them, because again, that's what tended to happen. We had a huge uplift in literally a period of about 6 months where the number of properties coming on the market doubled. So, and again, I'm going to show you some cumulative stats in a second. We're not seeing that yet. That could obviously change. Right. Next on, average price of a property coming on the market. Now, I've made it my mission to inform UK estate agents that I'm still a little bit concerned about the difference between what properties are coming on the market at, and more importantly, what they're actually selling for. So we're looking at the national stuff now. We will start diving into the regional stuff as well, which I know you haven't seen yet, but you'll be able to see in a second. And here, as I said, the actual asking price is 419. And I want you to remember that number. I think almost the other numbers are almost irrelevant, but it's just nice to get a flavor. Now, this is a particularly good graph, which I think everyone needs to look at, is the cumulative number of listings year to date up to week 7. So that's week 1 to week 7 going back. Some good figures here, mate, isn't there?
There is, but you know what? Because there aren't, so what we've got here is 7 years worth of data. The lowest is 187, the highest is 214. Because of the way this graph's presented, it looks like there's massive variations. But when you divide the difference between the lowest and the highest by 7 across an entire country, these are marginal swings. This is not, this is just really good looking, solid, simple data. As you said a moment ago, the market is not being flooded with properties, or at least, sorry, at a local level, that's what I'm seeing on what your data is showing. And I think, if people can remember the last 2 to 3 years, the major gripe with so many successful agents, and maybe some of the less so, was there's not enough property. We don't know what to do. We can't get our hands on property. Now there's property coming to market. We've got to be really, really careful as an industry that we don't become those people that always find something to moan about. Oh. I think this looks really good.
Well, I think this next graph is particularly interesting. So let's all be frank, 20, 21, and 22 were absolutely weird years, okay? In 20, we just had the bit after Boris had been elected. And then, so we had the Boris bounce. Then obviously, unfortunately, COVID hit. So we have to take that out of the equation. And then obviously 21 and 22 were very unique years. So I decided on this just to compare it with dull old boring 19, 18 and 17 in terms of 2019, 2018, with the pink line being national weekly listings. Thoughts on this one?
Well, I'm worried that I'm going to have to just start making some crazy stuff up here, because so far so good. Everything looks nice, and I would argue even consistent. We struggle with consistency and delivering consistency and offering consistency, but the market is doing it for us right now. Listings are following a trend. Weekly national listings. This, for me, this is solid as a rock. This is exactly what I think we should all be wanting to see. And I just hope that agents are watching this and are using this data to shape the conversation, as opposed to anecdotal evidence of the last 7 weeks in relation to their own maybe niche area, maybe their own business. Often I hear opinion spouted as fact because, the local market update, you're not talking about the local market update, you're talking about your own business. I hope people are looking at the market to shape conversation, because this makes for very good conversation.
Excellent, excellent. Right, let's move on to price reductions. And again, we've got, what it looks like is agents working their stock with an average number of reductions of, as I said, this month of 17,087. And interestingly, that number has remained pretty stable apart from week 1, where the average has been between 16,000 and 17,000. So it obviously shows that agents are working their stock, doesn't it?
It does. I think it also shows that the consumer is still living on a lag. They maybe haven't caught up. Maybe they are shaping that market appraisal appointment around price structure and price strategy. And maybe we could be doing more as agents to educate, using this sort of stuff, putting more out there, getting ahead of the curve in terms of the conversation that's going to happen when I get around the dinner table, so they understand what needs to be done on pricing. But if it has to come to market at a higher price, if they want to tempt the market, if they want to see how they go, then the agents are doing great work to get it back to the right price. So yeah, good for them. Well done, everybody.
Okay, so just to give you an idea of the present stock that we're running at, boys and girls, present stock at the moment in the UK is 512,720. Last month it was 532,000. And that is quite interesting when you compare. So again, let's go back to January, because it's a full month. Okay, so in January, 532,000 properties available for sale. As you would expect, 337,000 rental properties. So again, I would expect, you would expect that. But this is the bit that blows my mind, is this. January 21, there were 539,000 properties on the market. So the level of stock today, so we've got some of the doom mongers saying too much stock, too much stock, too much stock, prices are going to go down. Well, we're only at the same stock levels that we were in 21. Thoughts on that?
Well, two things. As I said earlier on, I mean, look, desperate for stock. Oh my God, there's stock here. Desperate for buyers. There's always going to be a good opportunity to have a right good moan and complain about the market we find ourselves in. What I would say, just in regards to 2021, data has shown, I don't know where this data's been pulled from. I'm talking what I'm reading in the trade press. Last couple of years, a massive spike in properties sold away from market, discreetly marketed, off market, whatever language you want to use. So I would say that probably, actually, the stock volume we were looking at last year that you can see from the data as available is actually probably a lower number than was available, because so much business was being done away from the internet, which is, I guess, where we're putting most of our data from here. So I think the position is much better. I think, yeah, look, you're talking about the doomsayers. I think they're just looking for an opportunity for a rant, aren't they?
Yeah, well, there you go. Average price of properties that are being reduced is at 396,000. Let's just have a quick reminder of what we're putting the stuff on the market for. 419 we're putting it on the market for, which is this column here in 2023.
So sorry, Chris, does that mean 396 is the price they're being reduced from, or the price they're being reduced to?
From.
Okay.
Okay. So again, I think the numbers are more important. And again, if you actually work out on a month-by-month basis, we are reducing about 7% of our stock. Do you think that's high enough?
Regionally, it's not high enough in London, I don't think. But nationally, I'm sure we'll get to that.
We will get to some of the right. Sole subject to contracts. So again, when we compare ourselves with 21 and 22, in 21 there was 30,000 sales in week 7. In 22 there were 28,500. This week 22. When you compare it with the other years of 16, 23,000, 17, 20,800, if you were reading newspapers, you would expect it to be half that, if not less. Thoughts?
And I also think 2023, the data we're going to see this year is the volume of sales after 2.5 crazy years. What you're looking between 16 and 19 is just very standard market conditions. So not one of those years represents a period immediately following a crazy growth period. So it's natural to see, I think, a little bit less this year because the market can only do what it can do. There are only so many buyers out there.
Indeed. Well, I mean, I think this is a fantastic graph, and this is the second week this has appeared. It's a cumulative gross sales year to date, so that's up to the end of week 7. And in 23, we've got 134,000. And you notice that the graphic at the bottom is a little bit more of your liking, and we'll change the other one for you next time. But again, looking back, 17, 18, 19, the sales are very similar in the same ballpark, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And as I said, we're coming into it off the back of 173 and 193, 2 absolutely astronomical years. You would expect more. I think it's reasonable to expect more of a dip than this. This is looking really good, really positive in my view.
This is one of the new graphs that we're doing just this week, and we'll continue on with this. And now we're trending the trend. So basically, this is you've got the orange dots, which is national weekly sales from week 1 through to week 10. The blue, the turquoise is 18, and the yellow is 17. And there's 23 with a nice pink line. Again, I don't know how many times we can say this, but this is just vanilla.
I know this is getting dull. We're going to have to start doing something a bit interesting here. We're going to have to liven up because this is all what people want to see. But really, what people want to see is crazy madness. Tell a joke, Chris.
No, I'm not very good at those. So, okay. Moving on, sale falling throughs, and we're at 4,700. But again, for the week. But again, I think this number moving on, I think net sales, actually, I think that net sales is a better judge. So net sales, we've ended on 17,000. So we're just slightly below the 16, 17, 18, 19 figures. And I think this graph here, and again, just moving on, is this particular graph is the cumulative net sales year to date. Okay. So we are slightly behind the magic years of 17, 18, and 19. But we're not.
So is it me, or actually if we pick it apart, if we look at where we are right now, so we're midway through February, Q4 was for me one of the strangest few months in my estate agency career. I'm approaching 20 years in. We had
you must have started as a child. You must have started as a child.
Well, yeah, those handsome boyish good looks. I think the vast majority of agents saw Q4 as, what is going on out here? This is absolute madness. We had, in my own business, we had a 3-week window where I genuinely thought, Mr. Optimism, for a period of 3 weeks, saying to the team, it's fine. This is life now. This is what the new business looks like. This is what we need to achieve. This is how we need to move forward. This is how we need to educate our clients. This is what we need to do for the consumer. All the usual stuff. Life will continue. It's just got to catch up. For 3 weeks, it took 3 solid weeks. And I would imagine it's for most agents out there, people weren't sure what was going on. And then it gradually came back. What we're seeing here in net sales is off the back of a crazy inflated period, 2.5 years of ridiculous growth. Then it starts to slow down in the summer. Then we get electric shock therapy from Truss and Kwarteng. And then there's unrest. We've got crazy inflation. We've got cost of living crisis. We've got the Bank of England talking about the longest, deepest recession in this country's history. And now we've started the new year and things seem reasonably positive. And we've still got people doing business. So if people are doing business at this level off of what's happened the last few months, I think we are in an astonishingly robust position. The market is performing so well. This just tells us so much about consumer sentiment right now. People still want to sell, and clearly people still want to buy in the face of all this that sort of screams risk. All these things scream risk. Maybe I shouldn't, I'm not sure what prices are going to do. And yet people still are. So I think we need a bit of a sort of take a step back and view this. And, you know, actually, based on the last few months and the last 2.5 years, we're in good shape. And we should be talking about that a lot more than we are.
I mean, I'm presently ghostwriting an article for my agent clients. I ghostwrite articles about their local property markets. And what we're kind of seeing at the moment is, you know, interest rates have gone down, you know, from, you know, for a 15% first time buyer mortgage, from just looking at my stats on the other screen, from down from 5.9 in October to 4.8. And you know, you can get sub 4 mortgages now on a 5-year if you've got a decent deposit. You know, I think, you know, house prices, the prices that are being paid today are not the same stupid levels that were 12 months ago. So of course, house prices are coming down, or you could look at it another way, saying, well, the price that's being paid is less, which means house prices are less. Is that a price crash? No, it's not. But we can all put house price crash doom-monger headlines to grab people's attention. I think the combination of sellers being more realistic on their pricing, and you know, and the number of sales, which you can see here, is still not, you know, is really good. I think expectations are not bad. That still means that agents have to risk them on the right price. They have to work their stock, and there's no point in taking on overpriced crap if you ain't going to sell it. Or, you know, let's just have a whiz through some final figures before we start looking at the regional stats. Gross sales as a percentage of listings, again, just slightly off the mark, but again, very similar what you would, you know, from the 16, 17, 18. So again, one big takeaway, boys and girls, just stop comparing yourself against 21 and 22. Go and look at your CRM and compare yourself against 16, 17, 18, and 19. Okay. Fall throughs, again, pretty out. There's nothing extra. Just shout up, mate, if you see something that you want to talk about. And then price changes as percentage of listings. Oh, it says week 6. That should say week 7. I will shoot the person that arranged that myself. That's me, by the way. Okay, right, let's move on and talk to you. So let's have a look. Okay, so mate, here's the national stats. And again, we'll just keep these on the screen so people can have a look at the trends. They're conditionally format, which means green is good and red is bad. And as you can quite clearly see here, you know, look, the long-term average over the last few years has been 28.8 thousand new instructions per month. And we're presently running at 32, which is not bad at all. Okay. So as you can see, as we move out towards the right, we're having more greens and less reds. Okay, that's the news. So again, but the magic thing is to apply this to your own market. Let's move on and look at the regional stats. Now, again, we're not going to spend too much time, but if you're in the East Midlands, take your time and have a look at these. But, you know, again, green is good, red is bad. And again, the guys in the East Midlands are looking good as well. Interestingly, a big stat, which is very important to me, is the percentage difference between listing and sale price. And the average percentage difference there is 13%. Let's move on to our friends in the east of England. And again, green on the right, things are going quite well. The average difference in terms of listing to sale agreed, again, 13%. Now, Inner London's been worrying me most weeks about the difference. And Inner London is not prime. Inner London is the postcodes, which is NW, N, SW, which is where you are, SE, and E, okay? And again, the number of new instructions is improving. And you guys in London are doing really well on price reductions. But again, isn't it interesting that the average price, let's just look at these here, what's that? The price of the stuff that's actually being reduced is in the 800s and 700s. The stuff that's actually selling here is the 700 or 800s. So why are you guys listing the average listing price at $1 million?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's also with London pricing, it can be skewed heavily with a little flurry of highly priced instructions. So there's maybe a little bit of that going on.
Okay, but we aren't, look, but these are not 10 or 20 listings here. These are 2,000, 3,000. I know you could almost turn and say, well, could we look at the median figures? And I think that's a very good point, but unfortunately, we haven't got the median figures for this. But again, I'm just concerned that the average difference here in terms of is a difference of 23.9%. I think inner London is a market to itself, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it called an island. When I go around the country and do different things with agents in different areas, it's all too clear that my very local experience in London, it's almost not relevant to what they experience and how they do business. It's a very different sort of set of conditions. Not that that's an excuse for getting the price wrong. Absolutely not. If it's our job to educate and get the price right, no matter where you are. But it's the conditions do feel very different.
Northeast, you can see that most of the greens were actually at the start of the month. So again, is the Northeast finding things a little bit tougher? Although, you're selling some decent numbers there, but just be aware, the guys in the Northwest. Northwest, though, again, big volume market there. They seem to be doing really well. Again, shout up if you see anything that you want to talk about. Outer London, almost again, a completely different market to inner London.
Very interesting. So when you're talking, inner London, you just gave some postcodes, but I would regard some of those postcodes as probably outer London. So
yeah, because
a bit of
remember,
a split, right?
You come from central London, and the world stops at Hammersmith, doesn't it? You lot. Okay.
Of course it does.
But in statistical terms, inner London is the main core postcodes that I've mentioned. Outer London are like your IG postcodes coming around to your Croydon postcodes, and everything in between. So the best way to describe it is, if you could put a donut around the M25, it tends to be the stuff that's just on the inside and just on the outside.
Yeah, like The Simpsons. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So again,
outer London looks good though.
Yeah,
it's not strong bad. Performance.
Scotland seems to be doing really well as well, as does, again, the Southeast. Look at these guys. You guys in the Southeast doing really well here.
That's really positive, because I speak to a lot of agents that cover the Southeast, and they really felt the pinch in Q4. Their market really did suffer with the shock treatment of the mini statement. So I'm really, really pleased that the year started well for those guys. That's great to see.
I tell you what, we've got the Southeast figures here, and it's not color coded, but you can quite clearly see here. So you've got the dates at the top, November and October. And the number of sales, really low. Look at this, 2000s, 2000s, 1000. If we go back here, we've got number of sales, we're up to 3000s.
Yeah, that's
great.
The
number of sales in the South, you're absolutely right. The number of sales selling now in the Southeast is 50% more than it was when the Kwarteng bombshell hit.
No, I'm so pleased, because good agents in that area doing everything they can, doing all the right things, but sometimes you have to hold your hands up. If the market doesn't want to do business, there's only so much you can do. So the fact that there's activity there is great for them. Good for them.
Good stuff. Southwestern Wales, again, all moving in the right direction. Nothing seismic here.
Tell you what, Wales is, the agents in Wales, they're just beasts. Every time I speak to an agent in Wales, they're doing good things. There's great activity. They're setting the world alight with marketing. Those guys down there, they know what they're doing. Yeah, I speak to a lot of Welsh agents, which is pretty random. But yeah, that's great to see as well.
Good stuff. We won't go into the ratios because we've just put them into the graphs, which makes it more manageable. Let's now move on to pick a town in the UK where I think we're going to focus on the town. And I'm going to send you to Coventry today, Ben. Okay?
It's one of my favourites. You know what? I'm Coventry, isn't Coventry, or wasn't Coventry, the cheapest season ticket of all time?
I don't know, but there's a phrase being sent to Coventry. It's got a wonderful little ring road as well. So here we go. So again, all the data that's been provided so far has come from 20EA on their Insights platform. 20EA, you can have this platform for yourself with your own postcodes. You have to buy it. We're not recommending it. It's really good though. I'm not being paid to do this. They just give me the platform for free. And in return, I use their data to share it with you, boys and girls out there in estate agency land. So do check it out. Don't mention my name because I don't get anything for it. But I think it's really important that you have a look at it and see, because there's some marvelous data in here. So
mate, just to get you, that's a new record. We're nearly 30 minutes. We're about 30 minutes in, and that's the first time you mentioned 20 years. I don't know I thought there was something wrong. I thought you guys had fallen out. That's amazing.
No, love to it. Now, interestingly, other data platforms have asked if they can bring their data in as well. And when we get those on stream, we will be bringing those in if they bring something to the party. And there's some good stuff coming in. But anyway, let's come back to this. So what you've got here on the graph is the number of stock that's available each at any month back to 21, and you can generally show the bluey green is 21, the dark blue is 22, and the red is 23. But again, they've got a few more months at the end to do the stock there, okay, because they take the average throughout the month. Shorter homes seem to be doing particularly well in terms of their market share. It looks like they're growing from around an average of 6 to 7. Bairstow eaves, again, hovering. That's quite spiky, isn't it?
It's quite spiky, yeah.
Purple bricks, our friends, purple bricks. And again, they seem 5.3%. That's not bad for purple bricks.
Absolutely.
Payne Associates, in terms of listings, again, there's quite a variance up and down there, isn't there?
Bit of jumping about over in Coventry. Can't make up their mind.
Lovitz, there you go. Ups. Oh, they seem to be going in a downward direction. Again, that might... Let's look at our friend's Hart. Oh, dear. Oof. Okay. Connells. Oh, seem to be holding their own. House Realtor, whoever they are. Oh, they seem to be doing quite well.
Oh, look at that spike.
And Merrick Binge. Okay, so that's new instructions, but then we can go and have a look at sold subject to contracts. Okay, so
Shortland. Wow.
Okay, purple bricks. Okay, well, they've done quite well. Paynes, again, they've had some good months, but you know, Bairstows up. Okay, right, let's move on. Okay, so this is a particularly favorite graphette of mine, and it basically said if all of these agents put on the same house, what would they actually sell it for? Okay, and if you want an explanation of where that figure comes from, go and look back at the other property stat shows I explained. I don't want to bore everyone to death on that one, but fundamentally, if all of these agents put one house on the market for £300,000 in Coventry, what would they get for it? So Shortlands, 311, Bairstow Eaves, 313, Paynes, 305, Purple Bricks, 306, Lovitz, 330.
They do love it. Wow.
Okay. So what that's telling me is that if Lovitz were up against, say, Purple Bricks, you can actually prove with these stats that you get £25,000 more. You know, the average, so you know, so the average £300,000. The average is 310, because let's be honest, can you see it's figured out at the bottom? Yeah. This is the last year, so again, you know, this is the good times of last summer, spring and summer. You know, properties were going over asking price, so that's it. So the average Coventry agent who put a house on the market at 300 would have got 310. Hence, this variance to average is what how you've performed.
So we're going to go out on a limb here and say Lovett very consistently work off the offers in excess of strategy to get that sort of variant, right? Which worked really, really well the last couple of years. We applied it in our business, and it served our clients very well.
Good stuff. Right, let's move on because we don't want to bore people to death. Let's go and look at lettings. And again, as I would expect, open rent, biggest share now, 18.6%. That is quite a big number. Open rent tend to be around the 10 or 15% mark in terms of properties, because again, these have been scraped off agents' websites and portals. Bairstows seem to do quite well, but again, there's a big student population in Coventry, so some of these figures, you know, do get moved. If we actually look, Shortlands have grown their rental stock by 49, open rent 23. First lettings at 8. But again, one word to the wise on this one is an awful lot of agents weren't putting their stock on for rent and just putting it as let agreed. So you do have to take these figures slightly with a pinch of salt. What I do want to do though is just go and have a look at this particular graph. So what I'm just going to do is tell you what, just fill in for me for a second once I sort it out, will you?
Okay, you pull your graph. And yeah, I've been to Coventry once in my life. Beautiful, beautiful. So we went on a weekend away. We went up to Nottingham. A few of the chaps had a night out in Nottingham. It's a long weekend, bank holiday weekend. We said, you know what? On the way back, we had a Friday night out. Let's have. Oh no, it was a Saturday night out. Let's have the Sunday because it's a bank holiday weekend. We go via Leamington Spa. If you've ever been to Leamington Spa, what a beautiful place. We've got to go somewhere because we've got to get some new clothes for the next day because we're only meant to be a one-night trip. Where are we going to stop? We decide we'll stop at Coventry. Stop at Coventry. Interesting. Think, well, we'll just catch a quick nap because we've had a very big night the night before. And we all woke up at about 2 o'clock in the morning and missed the night out. So we just stayed in a hotel in Coventry for a night for nothing. And that is the best story I have about Coventry.
Fantastic. That's a great fill. So we've got another 3 or 4 minutes left, and we'd actually now. Okay, so this is a great chart, and this basically shows. There's almost too much information on here, but I think let's get down to the nitty gritties. Okay, let's ignore new instructions or market share or sort of the contract. These are the three. These are the magic ones that you need to be doing: exchanged and withdrawn. Don't worry what comes in at the top. What comes out the bottom, and it can only come out the bottom if it exchanges or withdraws. Do you agree with that statement?
I do agree with that statement.
Right then. Okay. So therefore, of all the properties that left Shortland Homes, forget new instructions, they exchanged on 73.9.1% of the houses that left their agency and withdrew 26.9. So what this is telling me is Purple Bricks, I'm going to see sitting down here, the best performing estate agent in Coventry.
Respect.
Because they exchange contracts on 86.1% of houses.
It's amazing because they're the bad guys of estate agency. Everyone, they've got the target on their back. I like how they sort of change the structure. What I love about Purple Bricks is firstly, they managed to reinvent something that didn't need to be reinvented. They carved themselves out of market share. Fair play to them. What a great marketing campaign. I hated it, commisery, because it pushes against us, but actually so clever. But the easy dig is, well, once they've listed the property, they don't care. This pushes so hard against that. This is amazing. Fair play to them. They're selling 86% of their properties, even though they've collected their fee in advance. Good for them.
And good for them. It obviously shows that the guys and girls in Coventry at Purple Bricks are working their backsides off. And boys and girls, the rest of you at Shortland and Bairstow, don't shoot the messengers here, guys. This is fact. Okay, this is stats brought up by 20CI, and governments use these this stats. This is good stuff. Now again, let's. Purple Bricks aside, Payne Estates will exchange on 77.5.
Yeah, still great numbers.
Yeah, but Bairstow Eves at 65. So again, if I was Payne's or Shortlands, I would say you've got a, probably a 1 in 6 better chance of actually getting your house sold with us compared to Bairstow Eves. Nothing against Bairstow Eves, great firm. I think they're a franchise. I'm not sure if they're an owned or franchise there, but again, some good stats from you all. Lovett's at 70. Connell's at 43. That's low.
Yeah, that's low. But I just can't help but come back to the fact that you just aligned us with governments using this data. I love that. You've put us in a completely different category now. The government use this data, just like me and Watkin. Amazing. Well done. Yeah. You've put us right up there.
Oh, or probably down there. I don't know. But
big sorry, that is what I meant. That is actually what I meant. You're right.
Big firms use this, so this is good stuff. I think the magic thing here is that this sort of data shows you how efficient you are as an estate agent, and I think there's some good stats in all of this. The wonderful thing about stats are, and let's just leave your final thoughts about in the last 2 minutes before we go, is why is finding out your data compared to your competition so important for estate agents?
Well, I think in very, very simple terms, you need to understand your strengths and you need to understand your areas where your opposition or your competitors might exploit. So knowing your data, knowing how to use your data to best serve your consumer base is absolutely crucial. Look, I've probably said this before, that the consumer, when you're sitting around the coffee table or the dinner table, they don't want a historian. They don't want to hear anecdotally what was happening last year. They want an economist. They want a future economist. So if you can provide really high level detail around your current market, macro. So when we talk about macro, I like to talk about London, but also a national picture. This gives you that information at a macro level. But then you need to drill down and talk about why it's very, very, in my opinion, this is just an opinion, but in my opinion, if you really want to win, how you can specifically serve the consumer based on the data I present to you. I am the best opportunity for you to get the best price for your house. This is what that data offers you. And yeah, you know what you talked about, Connells, their performance is 46%. So they need to be guarded around how they position themselves, because their away rate, their listing to exchange, that rate is really low. So either maybe it's a training issue, and actually, if you want to do more business, maybe before you get out there and value, you need to train the team on how to value better, and maybe get the price right, or maybe how to sell, or whatever it might be. Use this data to drive yourself forward, to improve what you do and how you do, and shape your solution for the consumer. That's, I mean, look, this is agency 101. So I don't want to teach people to suck eggs, but this is so valuable, I think.
Thank you for your insight, Ben. You've been absolutely amazing. We'll get you back in a month's time, all being well. I hope you, the viewer, have enjoyed this. The graphs will be available on a link on YouTube. All I ask is that you don't use them. They're for your personal use, but don't use them on social media yourself. But I hope that helps and guides you with the real news of what really is happening in the UK property market. So thanks, Ben, for your time today. You've been, as always, exceptional and amazing. And thank you for watching. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
We'll see you next week.